Virtual Campground is a community of RVers. We gather around the campfire to share stories, information, and travel tips that help you on your next adventure. Your camp hosts, Deborah and Barry Benton, are full-time RVers in search of quaint bookstores, cozy coffee shops with great Wi-Fi, and epic photography opportunities, all to share with you. So pull up your chair and join us. Well, check 1, 2. How are you there?
Right as
Hello?
it gave us the cue, the Wi-Fi went. Wah.
Yeah, I don't even know if we're on right now. So, what do you want to talk about?
Well, we're not officially on because there's a delay, so
Yeah.
I don't think we're officially on.
I think we have sound this time.
When you hear us, please let us know. Hi,
Campers
Jen
in the
and
house.
Greg. Hey, Johnny.
Johnny Lightning says, Tata. Yeah, well, I'm back. Welcome to Texas.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, y'all.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we're frozen there.
Frozen.
We're frozen there.
So cold.
We should have gone over to the campers. So we talked about going over to the campers because they're here in the same
Campground.
place, and
they have a really cool
nice little place over there. We should have gone over there.
Coulda, shoulda. Coulda, shoulda. Again, another Texan thing. Coulda, shoulda. Well, we will fight through. Hopefully you can fight through with us. And we're going to talk about a few things. But first, before we get started on our topic du jour, we have a couple of personal things. Big word
for a Texan.
Yeah, it is. Have a couple of things. Well, we are in Castroville, which is French influenced.
That's true.
First of all, happy birthday to my brother today. My baby brother. I don't know how old he is, but he's old. 51, probably. Yeah, something like that. And then happy birthday to my good friend Jen, whose birthday is tomorrow.
Woohoo!
Yay, Jen!
We're going to celebrate.
Yes, we are. So those two things I wanted to make sure we said howdy and happy birthday to those folks. If anybody else has a birthday, please let us know.
Johnny, yeah, that's I keep seeing it come in and out. So keep an eye on it for us and let us know. Yeah.
What will we do if we are?
We'll just fight through it. Keep talking. I mean, we talk to ourselves all the time. So what's the difference?
Eventually you catch up with us, right? Isn't that how it works? Okay. Sorry. Yes, he is a mere youngster at 51, but I seem like I know he's my little brother. But we remember him so well at 19 that he seems kind of old now. Right. Anyway, but what does that say about me? So, well, we are here today to talk about Texas. We're fixing to tell you all about Texas.
Well, he sounded very, very southern and authentic there.
I have lived here for most of my life. But you're not a native. I am not a native, but I have been here since 8 years old. And while a native would say, too bad, like my brother, who is a native Texan.
It's like a little over 30 years you've been here.
A little over 30, yeah. I mean, you and I have lived in Texas together for more than 30 years before we took to the road. So anyway, we are here to talk about our home state. Yep.
And it's a big state. I don't know if you knew that. It's a big state.
And I've heard that it is a big state. It's
tough to see it all.
How big is it?
261,000 square miles, something like that.
Something like that.
I mean, give or take.
Give or take.
I mean, it's been a while since I've measured it. So,
yeah, it is. And for RVers, there are 79,000 miles of roadways to explore. Though I wouldn't explore all of them because some of them are pretty small. But yeah, that's a lot of highway for you to explore. And the longest highway, do you know what the longest highway in Texas is? Oh, what is it?
It's 83, which is interesting because it comes out of Oklahoma. Okay. So it extends even further. It comes out of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I can't remember exactly where it goes, but somewhere, I think it even crosses the border, but it goes at least
Mexican?
to the border.
Oh, okay.
I think it goes at least to the border.
In Brownsville.
Is it Brownsville?
Brownsville.
Okay, Brownsville. So it goes all the way, stretches the entire north-south part of the state. That's a long way.
It is a long way. And you can go, of course, the hardest part of any RV journey when you're going across the country is getting across Texas. I feel like whenever we've left Dallas.
Well, you just did that road trip.
I've done that a couple times. Yeah, and I
we did it early in our marriage, and then in a convertible.
And we did it also in the RV.
Oh, that's right. We done it in the RV, and you did it recently with our oldest son.
Yes, I did. On
Dallas,
the way
Dallas to El Paso.
Took forever.
Yeah, and then
we actually spent the night in Texas one night. Then the next time, then we flew through states to getting up to California. We were going to Northern California, and even in California, it didn't take anything. Yeah. So yeah, Texas can be the longest part, but there are some wonderful things to see in some parts of Texas. So we're here to tell you about some of those. We're going to fixin' to tell you.
That's right.
Because you have to learn to say fixin', and you have to say Texas. Y'all. So you spend a week. Yes, it can take a long time to get across Texas. Yeah. So where do you want to start? Should we start in West Texas?
Well, I think... Well, yeah, that's a logical place to start. But do we want to talk about when?
When to come to Texas? No, we can do that.
Okay, so yeah, when to come to Texas. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that we got into an RV is because we didn't like Texas in June, July, and August.
Or September.
Parts of September.
Most of September.
Yeah, it's just, in our opinion, outrageously stupid here. Heat, and then heat and humidity if you go anywhere south of Austin. So it's crazy. So I don't recommend it in the summer, but hey, sometimes you got to be here.
Sometimes people like hot. Yeah, and if you like 100 plus, then this is the place for you. Yeah, and I would say June can be it can still be pleasant, but by 4th of July, it is scorching. And where people think in September, oh, we're through it. No. Really, usually October is when you finally think, okay, we are really out of it. And then the winters, a lot of snowbirds come to Texas.
That's why it's so popular with in the Hill Country and South Texas.
Yeah, but even in South Texas and the Hill Country, you can get snow and ice.
Yeah, last year, right?
There was a couple years ago. Yeah, they got that really bad one. Yeah. But like this year, Dallas area got some bad ice last week. We were down in Galveston. We were fine. It was rainy and chilly, but it was fine. Yeah. So generally speaking, you're going to be fine if you're south of Austin as a snowbird. Yeah. Even here in the San Antonio area, it can get icy and snowy, more ice than snow. Mm-hmm. But
it was like 3-4 years ago. We were in San Antonio in January, and it was some ice. We were staying down in Riverwalk for that conference, and it got really bad, really cold. Yep. So it can happen. It can happen anywhere.
So then the best time is spring and fall, of course. I think that's pretty much what we say about almost every place.
We're pretty consistent on that.
But spring around here can be gorgeous because you have all the beautiful wildflowers, and there's some great places to go see the wildflowers. So this is just a good image of Texas and a little bit of what we're going to talk about. We're going to start up there in what we call the Panhandle.
Amarillo.
And most RVers are probably going to go through Amarillo at some point, because even if you're just passing through from New Mexico to Oklahoma, you're probably going to go through Amarillo.
Yeah, so Amarillo, did you know that Amarillo is the helium capital of the world?
I really, really did not know that.
Yeah, so more helium is grown there than anywhere else.
They grow helium?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know the technical details, but let me change that camera there. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, so somehow they manufacture or grow helium in I think it's Amarillo.
Okay.
So anyway, one of the things that's well known for is Cadillac Ranch.
Yes.
Which used to be some really cool classic Cadillacs that were buried in the dirt. Now they're cool classic Cadillacs buried in the dirt with a lot of graffiti on them. So somewhere along the way that got started. Do you remember when we were visiting this 30 some odd years ago, if it was covered in paint then?
Oh yeah, because there was even, I think, some paint cans there that you could paint.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So absolutely, it's a must stop. It's just off the highway, so it's really easy to get to. But you definitely have to go. It's right on Route 66, so you want to be historic and go on it.
Essentially the interstate in most of 66, and good parts of 66, some parts of 66.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, no, yeah. Did you get that? Some parts of 66 are now the interstate. And we stayed at an RV park just across the interstate and down the road from this, very close by. I can't remember the name of it, but there are lots of RV parks around Amarillo.
Oh, right. And so, yes, I was, well, there was the one up at Lake Meredith that was really cool. So that was fun because that was essentially boondocking. I think there might have been a small, no, it was free at the one we did. There was one of the campgrounds, there's like 3 campgrounds at Lake Meredith. One of them, there was a charge, but they also have some hookups. But where we stayed was free and it was first come, first serve. And there was also a dump station. We
Is that the one where we were kind of high on a bluff?
Yep, overlooking the water.
Yeah, that was lovely.
That was really cool. And then that one we stayed at was called Fritch Fortress, and then there's a Stanford Yak up there as well. And then we also stayed. The other great place to stay when you're in Amarillo, and this is probably where I would suggest staying, is Palo Duro Canyon.
Palo Duro. We stayed there, and I have some pictures of it.
Oh, look at you having pictures.
Yeah,
so Palo Duro Canyon
really
is
cool
a
place.
state park,
Yes.
and it's gorgeous. You have a lot of hoodoos. This is a hoodoo.
Hoodoo? Did you know that?
I did know that. Hoodoo.
Right.
So that is a hoodoo, but it's really cool. There's some great hikes. We did a lot of great hikes when we were there.
This is called the Lighthouse, and the Lighthouse hike. And one thing to know about the Lighthouse hike is that you don't do this for sunset without having fully charged batteries for your headlamp.
Yes.
Which is what I did. So I'm walking back, and it's completely dark. And have I told you the story before?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard it
4 or 5 times.
No.
So I'm walking back after sunset. It's completely dark, and there's a play that happens here every summer.
Every summer
Texas.
from June until about August.
It's about the history of Texas. It's really cool.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, highly recommend you do it.
To come
it's
to
a lot
that.
of fun. And
High
anyway,
school students put it on.
at some point,
it's awesome.
During that play performance, a cannon goes
off. They shoot off a cannon.
And when you're in the middle of nowhere without any lights, hiking in the dark, and you're off the trail. By the way, I was off the trail. I couldn't find the trail, and that cannon goes off. That's a special experience, folks.
But we don't recommend doing it. But yes, you might lose a few things.
Yeah.
But yes, it is an awesome musical, and I highly, highly recommend seeing it. I don't think you've ever seen it, have you?
No, and I saw it soon after we started dating or got married.
Oh, okay.
You took me to it.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a rite of passage. Everyone that comes to Texas has to go.
Has to go because I remember seeing it when we were growing up, and back when my brother was 3 years old, and I remember Kellyanne in particular, my sister. There is one scene of it where all of a sudden the lights go out and there's a spotlight up on the cliff, and there's a Native American in full headdress and full outfit, and it was quite stunning, and she was a little bit nervous. So, but anyway, so great musical.
And this place has a special place in our heart. Do you remember why?
Yes.
We took a 3-week road trip when I was trying to convince my bride to do this RV thing, and this was our first stop on the road, right? So this is we rented a little.
Yes, that was the thing that actually convinced me to RV.
Yeah.
Why that little thing convinced me, I don't know, but we did decide to do this. Oh yeah, and we got woke up by wild turkeys. Wild turkeys. They were quite noisy.
Yeah. Palo Duro is really cool. So
highly recommend it.
Yeah, highly recommend it.
Also up there in the Panhandle is Lubbock. You could visit Lubbock. I don't really see much reason to.
Well, no. You've got to, because that's also has another little special place. And I don't have any photos of this, but we do have. That was the first once when we got Big Al that we're in right now. Yes. That was our first stop.
Harvest
right?
Host.
It was a Harvest Host.
Was it Lubbock?
It was a winery. Oh no, I thought it was because it was that winery.
It was a winery, so that probably was Lubbock, because Lubbock has quite a few wineries, including I think one of the largest in Texas, Llano.
Yeah.
Which is a double L, not a yet Y.
Or Llano.
To start with. Llano.
Llano.
L-A-N-O.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, so go to Lubbock. That's fine. So, okay. So that is sort of the desert part of Texas, that Panhandle. You also can go down into, if you don't come across the top of the Panhandle, you can, of course, come across 10. You're going to go through El Paso.
10? Oh, yeah. 10 from El Paso through San Antonio and all that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I just did this in California. I know it was Highway 10.
Once you get out there, it's 10. Up here north, it's 20 going out that way.
Okay. So anyway, from 10, but you can also off of 10, you can visit the Monahans State Park, which is a bunch of sand dunes, which you don't really. I mean, you feel like you're in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Lots of sand dunes and hills. you can do some surfing on cardboard off these hills.
So pretty cool.
And there was a cute little. We stopped one time at a state park there as well and spent the night.
Yep.
So those are a couple of things you can absolutely do out there in the West Texas area. Oh, the other thing in Amarillo, if you're really, really hungry, you can stop at the Big Texan Steakhouse.
72-ounce steak and some fixins.
And it's free if you finish it all.
If you finish it all within 1 hour, I think.
I think so. Which I don't recommend because you're going to feel pretty darn bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, and also you have the Cerro Blanco Mountains out in that area by El Paso. So some pretty things. Not really my speed, honestly, to tell you the truth, but a lot of people really like that desert feel. More my speed is East Texas. East Texas is more the piney woods. So more green and wet, a lot more lakes. We have thousands of lakes here in Texas, and a good third of them, I think they said, was in East Texas.
Yep, and there's one far East Texas called Caddo Lake, where we've done some photography workshops, and really cool lake. It straddles Texas and Louisiana, and the interesting thing about it is the Texas side of the lake looks like a swamp, Louisiana swamp. The Louisiana side of the lake looks like just a regular lake.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So,
I've only seen the Texas side.
Really, it's really cool, and it is a must-stop. There's a beautiful state park there. They have a very limited full hookups. If you can grab one of those, really neat. But it's just especially fall. You don't think about Texas and fall colors, but there are some places that have some really cool fall colors, and Caddo Lake's just really gorgeous.
It has a bunch of cedars.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's all cedar trees, or not all cedar trees, mostly cedar trees, and those get a really nice burnt orange, reddish in the fall. And Caddo Lake State Park has a little lake there that you can have access, that you get access to the bigger lake, and just a really cool deal. This is a quick little video about, this was on our photography workshop, and just to show you a little bit about what it looks like when you get out on the lake in the swampy
This is November,
side.
That's why they all look a little bit cold.
It was very cold. There's not a lot of color in this particular one, but there was a lot of color in parts of the lake.
But a lot of, what do you call that, character with the dripping moss and the cedar trees, and just, it's very atmospheric.
Yeah, and this is an old historic home. This is one of my favorite. This is Dick and Charlie's tea house, or tea room. And the rules here are, there ain't no rules, there never were no rules, there ain't never going to be no rules, or something like that. So
truly Texan.
A lot of character in this lake. It's a really cool place. I highly recommend you go there. Now, Caddo is not the same lake as Toledo Bend. Toledo Bend's further down on the border between, it's further south. This is far northeast.
This is essentially, it's
Texas.
actually in Uncertain, Texas, or Karnak, Texas. Really close to Jefferson, Texas, and Marshall, Texas. So a great time of year to visit it is November, because of course, first, fall colors tend to be late in Texas. And two, Marshall and Jefferson are so adorable, especially at the holiday time. Marshall has millions of lights on their buildings, and they go all out for Christmas. And then Jefferson has a lot of character. It was actually a river town, believe it or not.
Yeah,
That's how it was.
Steamboats,
steamboats would come in. That was back when they had it sort of logged up. So, at any rate, that it was very prosperous for a while, and now a lot of those buildings have been turned into bed and breakfast. They're very beautiful old Victorian homes. They also have great stores like this one, which is the Jefferson General Store. It's been there since the 1860s, still going strong, selling lots of great things. But just pretty little town. It's very pre-Civil War time with some good restaurants too.
Yeah, and it has sort of some of the buildings have sort of almost a French feel to them.
Yeah, a little bit. I guess it's that Victorian part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's also known as one of the most haunted cities in Texas if you get into that. Yeah. So it's really a cool place. One of our favorite coffee shops. That was this one.
Is this the coffee shop that is coffee throughout the day and then it turns into a wine bar at night?
Yes, that's why it's one of my favorites. Yes, it's called Enoch's, and I think they actually have another location in Tyler. Tyler, Texas is also well known in East Texas, and they're well known for the Rose Festival, which is in October. and it's not far from Caddo. It's about an hour, I think it was, when we drove that. So you could do it as a day trip, or if you stayed a little further from Caddo, then you would be able to reach it pretty easily. So, but that is a high recommend. And one of the recommends that we would tell you about Texas that not everybody knows about. Because you think about the big cities, but they don't always think about some of these other places. And Lake Caddo is absolutely worth it.
Yep.
So going kind of more back to the central Texas and back to our hometown of the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Now, to be honest, there are lots of things around Dallas-Fort Worth to do. We didn't include them on here because they're big cities.
You can get that information.
Yeah, you can get that information.
And I mean, and honestly, from a perspective, I'm going to be really honest as a Texan and a Dallasite. Dallas is a great place if you live there. I don't know about visiting it. There are some great places to visit around Dallas, but it was hard. It's hard to find a campground really in Dallas. It's very hard. The one campground, two campgrounds that we know of that are pretty nice are the one out of Lake Louisville. Do you remember the name of that one?
You talking about the one at the Outback Grapevine? Or
yeah.
Oh, the one I stayed at for when we first got the rig. I don't remember the name of that. It was like a state park or something.
Yeah, I think there's a hidden cove that's a nice one, and that's there's a state park on Lake Louisville, and then a really nice campground is the Vineyards in
that one
in Grapevine.
Yeah, well, there's that new one that's in east of Dallas, but I don't remember the name of it.
The one out by Garland.
Yeah,
that one.
Really expensive.
And just a big concrete pad. Yeah. But
so,
I think from a
Grapevine's
perspective
really cool.
of this is the Vineyard, which our friends the campers stay out almost every time they're in Dallas. This is really a nice campground. It is right on a marina, so it's right on the lake, so very pretty and really convenient because it's convenient to Grapevine, which is one of the cutest towns in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and well worth a visit. And two, it's really convenient to get into Dallas and to get into Fort Worth because it's a little bit closer to the airport, which is more central. The airport being DFW Airport, to get pretty close. So it has
convenient to Hop and Sting, which is
Hop and Sting, one of our favorite breweries. Yeah. So Hop and Sting Brewery is a great place to visit. Main Street in Grapevine is just totes adorbs. It's got lots of cute little shops. Again, at Christmas, Grapevine is the place to be because there's just so much to do and see for the holidays. Grapevine also has an old vintage railroad. And that railroad, you can take just a quick trip on the railroad, about an hour, or you can travel all the way to Fort Worth on it and go visit stockyards if you are so inclined. And that's about a 4-hour trip. They also have in Grapevine the very amazing large. Oh my God! Great, Gaylord, the
Gaylord Texan.
Gaylord Texan.
Ice exhibit every year, and it is lots of ice. This is one small part of it. It was huge, and it was extremely cold.
You have to put on one of their coats because it's
You
so
don't have
cold.
to, but
yeah, well, bring a very heavy winter coat
layer
and a
up
hat
if you're going to go
because it is very cold. But it is a great place to visit Grapevine. Like we said, there's some really cute shops there, and
keep talking. Yeah.
There's some great shops. And if you do take the train over to Fort Worth, we recommend going to see the stockyards, driving there, taking the train. Go to the stockyards. There's also a great Tex-Mex restaurant in Fort Worth called Joe T. Garcia's.
Cash only.
Fort Worth is where I think you get, as far as a big city goes, the most Texas culture. Yeah. Because it's just what you think of in Texas.
As far as a big city goes.
Yeah, a big city. I mean, you're going to get much better culture, Texas culture, in some of the smaller cities, especially in Hill Country area. But for a big city, it has retained a lot of its small town feel. It has some beautiful museums. If you like Western art, great place to go visit. And it also has a gorgeous botanical garden. So Fort Worth is definitely worth, I think, a visit. Dallas is worth stopping, especially if you want to shop.
Let's see, Johnny or Kippers, we lost connection there for a second, so just give us a thumbs up. Let us know. I see we still have some people watching, so hopefully we're not locked off completely. I think we're back on. Okay. All right. So yeah, from Grapevine, as far as our tour goes, we head south.
Yes. So let's go down 35, shall we? The Wi-Fi is flaking out, so hopefully you're getting some information from us. or watch the replay later. At any rate, we'll head down 35 out of Dallas, and we'll go to the place that everybody wants to go to these days, Waco. Now, I'm going to tell you, I spent 4 years in Waco, Texas, going to school, and it was lovely to go to school there, but there was not a lot to do. There is a lot more to do now with the Silos and the Magnolia folks there. If you're a Fixer Upper fan, then you know about Joanne and Chip, and it has become a mecca for people to come visit. It just boggles my mind when people say they want to come to Texas to go see Waco, but it's okay. I can recommend in Waco the bookstore, though. It is an amazing bookstore, Fabled, it's called. That's one with that the owl there. They have a great selection, some cool events, a nice little coffee bar, and where you can get sandwiches and stuff as well. Highly recommend that as a stop. It's just around the corner from the Silo, so it's an easy place to stop. Definitely go by the Silos if you're a big fan. You can also go onto the Baylor campus, and another huge recommendation I would have at Baylor is the Armstrong Browning Library. I spent a lot of time there as an English major, but it is beautiful. It's a building with lots of stained glass that display the poetry of Robert Browning, and Elizabeth Barrett Browning has a lot of memorabilia there, so it's a museum and a library. Highly recommend that. So if you're a Dr. Pepper fan, there is a Dr. Pepper museum. But the best thing in Waco is not really in Waco, it's in West, which you will get to before you get to Waco. And West is where you can find the famous Czech kolaches. And personally, I like Slovacek's best. Other people like the one on the other side, the Czech stop. So try them both and you tell us which ones you like best. But I think Slovacek's is the better one. So we keep going down 35, and where do we end up?
We head to Austin, which is sort of the entry into the hill country. Yep. And of course, Austin's another big town. It's gotten so much bigger lately. It is
so much more traffic.
So much busier than it used to be. And we're not moving there, but I hope people can hear us. Anyway, Austin has some really cool spots to it. It's still cool and weird and all that, and different spots. So you just got to seek them out. This place was one of our favorites, Cosmic Cup, and it's a really cool coffee shop and food trucks and just a nice place to hang out. It's a big yard.
You can sit. I actually sat there and worked for a while. They had pretty decent Wi-Fi. It's in a cool kind of warehousey section of Austin, as lots of things are. There's lots of breweries. We went to this one, the Infamous Brewing Company. That was a lot of fun. We played games. And then, of course, Austin, again, we were there around the holidays, so we got to see some nice holiday light. Austin also has amazing music, as everybody knows. It has got the city limits, of course, Austin city limits, and lots of other places. But you want to tell them about this special place?
So, yeah, the Kempers are going to have to remind me. Dale. Dale something. Kempers can remind me, but this guy was great. They brought us out to see him, and he does, just to keep it PG, I guess, chicken crap bingo that he brings around with him, and it's quite something. Anyway, we did not win any money that night on the bingo, but it was a fun time hanging out there and listening to some great music.
There is this Texas State Capitol. You can stay at a park called the Pecan Grove. Is it called the Pecan Grove RV Park?
It's got some small spaces.
Spitting distance of the Capitol, as they like to say. And it's also really close to some great barbecue places and other fun places within Austin to go visit. Do a barbecue hunt, so to speak, as you're going around Austin. There's lots of great places to get barbecue. Franklin's is one that is extremely popular. Gets a line going way out the door, but you have to get in the line because it will sell out, and they close their doors when they sell out. Also in Austin is the LBJ Presidential Library. I forgot to mention there is a George Bush Library in Dallas. Texas is home to 3 presidential libraries. So both Bushes and LBJ. Austin is also home to a very popular bookstore called Book People. It has amazing events. Definitely check. its calendar and see if a favorite author is going to be there when you're there. That was one of the barbecue places we went to and highly rated it, Terry Black's. That my son took me on a food hunt. We did tacos and barbecue and all kinds of things all in one day, just so he could get to try all these places out. So yes, so Austin is definitely worth a stop. You can, as we mentioned, stay at Pecan Grove RV Park, which is close to downtown. We also stayed up at the lake at River Bend RV Resort. And that, if you go up there, then it's a little bit of a hike to get in and out of Austin. But you're a little bit out of the traffic then. But there's also some great places up there, like the Oasis.
That's a great location, yeah.
The Oasis is a well-established, popular spot. A little bit on the touristy side, but you got to do it once, right? You go up there, have a drink, have some nachos, and when the sun sets over the lake, everybody cheers because it's beautiful.
Got just a cascading deck going down the hillside. It's part of the hillside. It's a really cool place.
Yes.
All right. So let's see and then if you continue heading south a little bit, you got College Station, which is home to the Bush Museum. One of the Bushes.
Bush the Elder.
Yes, Bush the Elder. Really nice museum. Highly recommend stopping by there. It's got some really cool stuff from the family history and his history, so it's really pretty fascinating. But the reason you even go down because you want to get into the hill country, in my opinion.
By the way, if you go to College Station, definitely stop at the museum, but also go to the Chicken Shack. It's an institution. You have to go to the Chicken Shack and eat.
Okay. All right. That's information.
That's where A&M's, yes. A&M, home of A&M, and that's where they all go.
All right. So one of the things that's taken off here over the last 10, 15, 20 years is wine. And the hill country, it has gotten so pervasive, and it's gotten better actually. And so it's
the hill country is home to about 45 different vineyards.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So you have Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg would probably be where, if you want to stay in hill country, I would say would be a good home base. It's got a great main street with some cute shops. It's probably the larger of some of the smaller towns, but it makes you have pretty good access to Bern and Bandera and several of those other ones. So we think that's a good location to be. Also, go up and down Main Street and just can stop in all the wine tasting rooms. And you might see some beautiful sun. Is it a sunset or sunrise?
That's a sunset.
Texas sunset. Hill country is also one of the best places to see bluebonnets. You can find them up in East Texas as well. Honestly, you'll just see patches of them. When we have good spring rains, you'll get patches of them along the highway, and you'll see a lot of people just jump out of their car and go take a picture in them. Did you know? I grew up in Texas, right?
Right.
I was always taught it is illegal to pick a bluebonnet.
Right, of course.
It's not.
What?
It's a fallacy. It is not illegal to pick wildflowers. Now, that said, the state park does not want you to pick any flowers on state park land. Probably illegal there. But just to pick a wildflower bluebonnet, not illegal. All those years, they kept telling me that.
We could have been picking bluebonnets.
Could have been picking bluebonnets.
Lukenbach, of course, very famous.
Very famous.
Hill country. And you mentioned kolaches earlier. And
you can find them around here as well.
Cool.
In the hill country. You have a lot of
hill country.
It's got some, because the hill country has the influence of, in this area that we're in, Castroville, it's French, there's some Czech influences, so you get a lot of different, absolutely. So Fredericksburg, yes. So so you get a little bit of everything. And then, like we said earlier, great music in the Austin area. This is probably one of the most famous places to go listen to music. Green Hall. It is pronounced green. And again, a great area to walk around, cute little shops, good restaurants. And check the calendar to see who's playing, because it is sometimes somebody pretty awesome. And you might just look out and get to hear Lyle Lovett or Willie Nelson, for heaven's sakes. We were somewhere. When we were at the bar up there by River Bend, we went to a dive bar, and they told us that was one of the
Pootie's.
Pootie's.
Where his roadie had a little bar there. Okay, so then from there, San Antonio is the southern gateway to the hill country, so to speak, and it has a lot.
And that's where we are now. We're just outside of San Antonio. Of course, San Antonio has all the history. You have the Alamo. So definitely worth a stop to see. Probably one of the most visited cities in Texas. And there's a lot of areas around it, like we were talking about with the hill country here at Cashville, that you can stay without being literally in the city. And like the campground we're at right now is the Alsatian.
Alsatian, yeah.
And it is lovely. It's in Kestrelville. There's another one we're going up to at Lake Medina, so we'll be by the water. And then there are, of course, KOAs and other things. Mm. Another big thing to do in Texas and here in San Antonio, they have the big San Antonio rodeo starting this weekend. But you can find great rodeos in Fort Worth. In the Dallas area, there's Mesquite. That's what they're known for. So absolutely, it's one of the things to try when you're in Texas is a rodeo. Mm-hmm. So that was 1,000 years ago when we visited that with our children. Mm-hmm. Look at that cowboy hat that boy bought. At any rate, yes, but you can get some. Oh, the other thing about Texas, and when you're looking for places to stay, are the state parks.
Oh, yeah.
The state parks are really
amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
And you can find some great state parks to stay at. Of course, have the 2-week limit within a 30-day period. But some of them you can make reservations, I believe. Some of them you cannot. But definitely worth a look when you're looking around for a place to stay is the state parks.
And one of the cool things about the San Antonio area are the missions that were established so many years ago. So you can actually go on a mission tour and see some really cool old missions.
Yep. And
the Riverwalk, very famous Riverwalk. It's something to go see if you haven't seen it before. And that is San Antonio.
Awesome.
Are we stuck? Are we live? We'll be a little stuck.
So after leaving San Antonio,
Galveston, Texas.
Yes, now we head to the beaches.
Beaches, yeah.
Yeah, in Texas, you get to go to beaches. They are not blue beaches. Do not believe that they are blue beaches. Blue water.
Oh, blue water. Yeah, no. It's a little,
we believe in mud.
Yeah. It's a little dirty looking. It's not mud, but it's not the beautiful blue of Florida or California or whatever.
I think there are some areas where the water is much clearer, but at any rate, Galveston is probably one of the more popular places because it's just an hour outside of Houston. It was a very overcast day. The picture anyway, you can't even see the ocean. It's way over there in the clouds. It is across the highway from the beach. So if you're not a person that really likes sand in your rig, then I highly recommend this place. Yeah. There is a very popular one called Delanara that is on the beach, but you will get sand. And then a really great state park there at the end of the island.
A little further down from where we were. Really nice looking state park.
You want to go visit the Strand. You can also take a ferry over to Bolivar Peninsula where there are more RV parks. So we did that one day in the Jeep and went over there and had dinner, and that was nice.
Yeah. The Kempers spent some time in Port Aransas, and they sent us a few photos there. I've never been to Port Aransas.
I have.
But it's just another on the Gulf town. It looks like it has a lot of character to it.
This was a dive they called the Gaff. They said it was great fun. There were some races.
Belt sander races.
Yep. Belt sander, those are. I'm not sure what a belt sander race is, but that's going on right there. But yeah, I think Port Aransas, Padre Island probably have better beaches than Galveston, personally. But, it depends also on where you want to travel.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so we've done beaches. We've done some of the major parts of Texas. Now let's talk about one of the areas that I bet you most Texans haven't even visited.
No, Big Bend National Park is a hidden gem down in far, far South Texas.
It takes a long time to get there. That's why I don't think, and there's not a lot in between San Antonio and Big Bend.
No, there's not. You have to, we're heading there here in a week and a half or so, and where's our last stop for diesel, and where are we going to lose cell service, and the RV park we're staying at said, make sure you print these directions out or copy them somewhere on your phone because you will lose cell service within an hour outside of our park. So So yeah, it's going to be a little crazy from that perspective, but it is a beautiful, beautiful place. I've got a few photos here, but it's the Chizos Mountains are in the middle of it, and there's just tons of. It's essentially desert with with mountains in the middle, and it's just a really cool place. And outside of the Big Bend National Park is a little town called Terlingua. There are lots of little towns that are famous around there. Marfa and Marathon and what have you. But Terlingua is pretty extra special there, in my opinion.
Has a lot of character.
A lot of character.
It's the home of the Terlingua Chili Festival, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Terlingua Chili Cook-Off.
Yep.
World famous. Let's see. Yeah, there are the Chizos Mountains. That's the road that goes up into, there's a lodge up in the middle of those mountains, and it's a very curvy road. There is a small, I believe it's a state park. It is a state park that's in the middle of those mountains. You go up some switchbacks. I think their limit is a 26-foot trailer to get into that park. But it is worth looking into. But there are several parks around there, and this place has also a lot of just camping spots, dry camping. Oh, he's been everywhere just one night.
Johnny said he's been there to Big Bend for one night. The hardest thing I can imagine about that, Johnny, was getting there one night and then leaving, because it is truly a long haul to get in and out of that park.
Yeah.
You can do it from the Midland area as well. You can come in from the north of it as well. Maybe put up that map again, but it is quite a ways down around the curve of Texas, and just right there on the border of where Mexico is. That is the Rio Grande River that goes through the Big Bend National Park, and just on the other side is Mexico.
Yep.
So, but you can see it's down in that little piece of, that little bump, so to speak, and it is difficult to get to, because a lot of that area that you see there with no city written on it, there's really no city there. There's just little tiny towns. So like Barry said, you do want to get prepared. You want to get your gas, your propane, groceries.
Know where you're going.
And be ready to not have cell service.
Yeah. Okay, I think that is all we had as far as our highlights of Texas.
We did that quickly for Texas.
Yeah.
We got around.
We left a lot out. Oh, our camera's wrong on that. We left a lot out, but there's just so much to cover. You can't get it all in.
We wanted to give you a good taste of Texas and where we think are worth really going. We haven't actually gone, well, you have, I think, been to the Guadalupe Mountains National Park. So that's one of the places we're going to head after Big Bend. Going to take care of a few national parks. So we'll report back on Guadalupe. As far as if you are looking for places to stay, highly recommend the state parks. Harvest Host has a lot of Harvest Hosts in Texas. So those are always worth going to. Like Barry said, that was our very first night in Big Al, was at a Harvest Host in West Texas. So if you have any questions about Texas, please reach out. We'd love to help you with anything that we do know about. We glossed over a lot of the big cities, like we said earlier, just because they are just big cities. And it depends on what you're interested in. You can definitely find something there, and we're happy to help you pinpoint what you're looking for. But we highly recommend Lake Caddo.
Yep, Caddo Lake.
Hill Country.
Yep.
And Big Bend.
Yep.
Those are probably our top three.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Austin, if you love music and barbecue and want to go to a big city. But yeah, those would be my favorites.
Yep. There you go.
All right.
Anybody have any questions? Please let us know. Johnny has an interesting cougar story about Big Bend.
Wonder what kind. Is that the animal cougar or?
I feel sure.
Yeah, probably so.
It is Big Bend.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. Hit that like button. And also, if you're interested in learning more about our upcoming event, Camp Carpe Diem, you can go to campcarpediem.com. Coming up this fall in beautiful Montana, not too far from Glacier National Park.
Kalispell, Montana.
The opposite side of the country from Big Bend National Park.
Yes, quite a ways north.
Yeah, we're going to be going from one extreme to the other.
We are. We're going to go from deserts and hills to hills and snow.
Yep.
Because it probably will have a little bit of snow.
Probably so. Yep.
Probably so. All right.
Okay. Anything
Johnny,
else?
are you going to tell us? No.
No. No.
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
But Johnny, do you want to tell us about your cougar story? You're going to type that up for us, or I'm going to call you about it. All right. So thanks so much for being here. We're going to, it's time to pull in the chairs and put them in the wagon, so to speak. So thanks for stopping by, and hope y'all come back again here.
Wow, you sound authentic.
Do I?
Yeah.
I've lost a lot of it, but I can bring it back.
We do have an outro. So we've got a few more pictures of Texas that we didn't have room to show here. So we'll play that. Good Lord willing, we've got some good Wi-Fi that'll play us out. And so we'll be able to say goodbye in the chat. And yes, the animal, Johnny says. Okay, so clarifying. Great seeing you. Hit that thumbs up. Thanks for being here. Until we see you in person sometime, we hope to see you in the virtual campground.
See you around the campfire.